We are now in a world where there are different challenges to face, and we've got new management in Number 10 getting on with the job and getting on with the priorities of this country.
Well, exactly when was restricting the public's right to protest a people's priority? A move the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights has described as incompatible with the UK's international human rights obligations.
We clearly have a problem with human rights law in this country that is making it difficult for us to achieve our objectives.
They don't even try to hide it anymore. Next week, the government plans to bypass the will of Parliament by using a statutory instrument to restrict our right to protest. It's the first time ever the government is using secondary legislation to actually overturn a parliamentary vote. It's unprecedented, it's undemocratic, and it's being used to further the government's agenda of restricting the public's right to protest by defining serious disruption as anything more than minor. Just take a minute to think about that. This law will affect every single one of us. It will affect any protest by anyone which is anything more than minor. And it wasn't even mentioned during the interview with the Energy Secretary. This outrageous assault on our liberties was rejected by the Lords in a vote a few months ago. We're a parliamentary democracy. If the government wants to put this forward, they should table fresh legislation, not try and sneak it back in through the back door. This unprecedented abuse of power to restrict our right to protest will be debated in the Commons on Monday, and Labour can vote against it in the Commons knowing they will lose. But on Tuesday, Labour have an opportunity to actually stop it in the Lords by supporting the fatal motion tabled by Baroness Jenny Jones. That's right, Labour can actually stop the government using an unprecedented abuse of power to restrict our right to protest. But the rumour is they will abstain on the fatal motion and allow the government to get away with it. Allow the government to restrict our right to protest using this unprecedented abuse of power. If you think that's wrong, please join the tens of thousands who've already signed the petition calling on Labour to back the fatal motion, backed by the Lib Dem Lords. This really is a make or break moment for parliamentary democracy. This is serious stuff. It's all part of a wider trend. Remember, we have the government's anti-strike bill designed to rob millions of workers of their democratic right to strike, to force them to work against their will and allow them to be sacked if they refuse. And then we have the government's Bill of Rights bill, which will reduce human rights protections and government accountability. See a pattern emerging here.